Righto folks, Thomas Benjamin Wilde Esquire here. I'm back with another episode of Should I, Can I Cover It? The series where I like to ask the question, just because I can cover a song, does it mean I should? It's not just an exercise in finding new songs to play on YouTube, although that is a big part of it. It's also a discussion of the songs themselves in terms of lyrics and music. So if you've got any interesting song facts, let me know in the comments. If you'd like to see more of this kind of thing, again, let me know in the comments. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already, and make sure you hit the notifications button so that you don't miss out on future videos. Suggestions are made through my Patreon community. More information on how you can join us there can be found in the description below. With all of that out of the way, let's get on with the video. Should I, can I cover it? So the song I'm looking at in this episode was originally released in 1984. It's by a band called the Pet Shop Boys, great British band of the 1980s, who I used to actually really like when I was a kid. And purely for the reason that they were called the Pet Shop Boys, and I liked animals. I got really into the Pet Shop Boys as a very young child because I liked their name, which is great. I mean, they're a great band. So this was suggested by Craig on Patreon. It's a song I know fairly well. I wouldn't say that I know all the words to it at all, but I definitely know the chorus of it. I think it's ingrained into the British psyche. But the lyrics are quite interesting. And so I think it'd be interesting to delve more into them in what I like to refer to as a dramatic read-through. Sometimes you're better off dead. There's a gun in your hand and it's pointing at your head. You think you're mad, too unstable, kicking in chairs and knocking down tables. It's a great start for a song, isn't it? Sometimes you're better off dead. There's a gun in your hand and it's pointed at your head, like being forced to do something. You think you're mad, too unstable, kicking in chairs and knocking down tables in a restaurant in a West End town. Call the police, there's a madman around, running down the underground to a dive bar in a West End town. Now, that actually sounds like a familiar night out in London, in all fairness. A familiar night out in a lot of British towns, to be quite honest. Somebody kind of kicking off in a restaurant, and while you're heading out to a bar in the West End. So yeah, very much, it seems like a night out. In a West End town, a dead-end world, the East End boys and West End girls. In a West End town, a dead-end world, the East End boys and West End girls. Now, there is kind of class elements to this song, I believe, because historically, West End girls are rather posh, and East End boys are historically more working class. So what the suggestion is here is you've got East End boys going out in the West End to try and pick up one of the posh girls, and vice versa. The girls going to pick up, horrible term, a bit of rough, but there we have it. Those class discussions going on there. West End girls. Too many shadows, whispering voices, faces on posters, too many choices. If, when, why, what, how much have you got? Okay. So there's so many choices of things that you can get up to in the West End. There's faces on the posters around on the underground, all looking at you. And there's so much kind of opportunity there for alcohol, drugs, sex, and everything in between. So if, when, why, what, how much have you got could be referring to what you have in terms of drugs or other things. Have you got it? You get it. If so, how often? Again, could be referencing that. Which do you choose, a hard or soft option? How much do you need? So yeah, this one very much feels like kind of that whole gathering together, discussing various things like drugs and sex, alcohol. A lot of this feels very fractured. It's not coming from one singular perspective, and I quite like that because it feels like a night out. A night out clubbing in the West End, or night out in bars in the West End. In a West End town, a dead end world, the East End boys and West End girls. A West End town, a dead end world, the East End boys and West End girls. West End girls. And we've got how much do you need? And then the chorus repeats over, heart of glass or a heart of stone, just wait till I get you home. Okay, somebody could be in trouble or could be in for a very good night there. We've got no future, we've got no past, here today, built to last. So very much living for the day when you're out and about. In every city, in every nation, from Lake Geneva to Finland to the Finland station, how far have you been? Now that could be referencing how far away you've been, but also how far you've been in terms of sex and drugs and alcohol and that kind of thing, and the kind of vices that you're getting up to on a night out in the West End. So some interesting lyrics here that feel very kind of fractured and like they're coming from lots of different angles. This is going to be an interesting one to do because I know the verses are spoken rather than sung. And it's quite an electronic track. So let's have a listen to the music and see what we can make of it. West End Girls, there we go. Oh, traffic noise at the beginning there. It definitely sounds like London on a Saturday night. And there's a lot of electronic there. The synthesizers. I could probably create something on the uke with that. Again, very, very bassy song. There's that lovely bass line going on there, but I'm not going to be able to do anything with that, unfortunately. Town and dead end world, the East End boys and West End girls. West End girls. That little drum bit in there, I've always thought is the kind of really iconic bit there. And I can't do that. I can't get that on the uke, unfortunately. This is going to sound very, very different on a uke. Much do you need? Again, very, very simple song structure and chords and things like that. But the power of it comes through the bass there and the synth drums. My version's going to sound very, very different. I don't know what I'm going to do with this middle section. West End girls. I've no idea what this is going to sound like, to be quite honest. West End town, a dead end world. I love that synth that's going on all the way, the kind of synthetic string sound that's going on all the way through this. And then it fades. So we get another fade there. So I can make some judgments on how to finish the song there, which should be quite interesting. Okay. You like to give me a challenge, don't you, folks, on Patreon? So let's grab this up and see what we can make of it on the ukulele. So the chords that I'm using for this song have been taken from ultimateguitar.com, where I get all of my chords from. I don't have any affiliations with them, but they are just a great site to actually go and find uke and guitar chords. I subscribe to them and I get a little bit of extra for the monthly subscription, where I can have backing tracks and transpose to different keys to make them more suitable for me to sing with. I'll post the link below the video for where you can actually go and find the chords to this, so you can actually give it a go yourself. But let's give it a go. So it's going to be interesting to see how we can do this because it's very synthetic and lots of bass. So yeah, so we start with. I think that works as an intro, doesn't it? Yeah. This is going to be a very scaled back version of an electronic track. I'll let you judge that. So these are the chords here, and that's what it is all the way through the verse. We get. Sometimes you're better off dead. There's a gun in your hand and it's pointing at your head. You think you're mad, too unstable, kicking in chairs and knocking down tables in a restaurant. In a West End town, call the police, there's a madman around, running down the underground. In a dive bar, in a West End town. I think that's about all I can do with it. Unless we try to do... Sometimes you're better off dead. There's a gun in your hand and it's pointed. I don't think that works necessarily with it. I think we need to kind of add some rhythm to that a little bit. Or we could do sometimes you're better off dead. There's a gun in your hand and it's pointed. No. I think that initial thing. I think it's going to be very much a rhythmical strumming all the way through this. In a West End town, a dead end world. The East End boys and West End girls. In a West End town, a dead end world. The East End boys and West End girls. West End girls. I think that just about works with that. Yeah, I'm gonna, when I listen back to this, it's probably going to sound awful. But I think that's what we'll do. So then it repeats through in that way again. And then we get... And I don't know what the tune is for the synth bit there, otherwise I would whistle it. Yeah, because I don't think that's necessarily going to work. So I'm probably just going to... How much do you need in a West End town, a dead end world? Yeah, I think that's how I'm going to play it. It's not going to be particularly interesting, but I'm not sure what else I can do with it. Maybe your suggestions underneath, folks, for better ways to make this song work. It's definitely not a constructed for ukulele track, this one. But I'm going to try and make it work as best as I can. So let's try and play it through. Sometimes you're better off dead. There's a gun in your hand and it's pointing at your head. You think you're mad, too unstable, kicking in chairs and knocking down tables in a restaurant. In a West End town, call the police, there's a madman around, running down the underground. In a dive bar, in a West End town. In a West End town, a dead end world. The East End boys and West End girls. In a West End town, a dead end world. East End boys and West End girls. West End girls. Too many shadows, whispering voices, faces on posters, too many choices. If, when, why, what? How much have you got? Have you got it? Do you get it? So how often? Which do you choose, a hard or soft option? How much do you need in a West End town, a dead end world? The East End boys and West End girls. In a West End town, a dead end world. The East End boys and West End girls. West End girls. How much do you need in a West End town, a dead end world? The East End boys and West End girls. Ooh, in a West End town, a dead end world. The East End boys and West End girls. West End girls. Got a heart of glass or a heart of stone. Just wait till I get you home. We've got no future, we've got no past. Here today, built to last. In every city, in every station, from Lake Geneva to the Finland station. How far have you been in a West End town, a dead end world? The East End boys and West End girls. In a West End town, a dead end world. The East End boys and West End girls. West End girls. West End girls. So thanks for that, Craig. A very electronic, bass heavy song that I've attempted to reduce down to ukulele. Not sure how well that worked. I'm sure people will let me know in the comments. So, West End Girls by the Pet Shop Boys. Can I cover it? Ish. Should I cover it? Perhaps not. Perhaps not. It's definitely a very electronic song and requires probably a lot more than just the ukulele. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Thanks for watching this long. If you've enjoyed this video, let me know in the comments. If you've got any interesting song facts, again, let me know in the comments. Make sure you subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. Hit the notifications button so you don't miss out on future videos. And if you want to find more information about how you can join my Patreon community to be able to make song suggestions, follow the link in the description. In the meantime though, stay safe, and until next time, toodle pip. Should I, can I cover it?